Dear students, in this video you are going to learn about short answer questions with the basic answers from Unit 5, and you can elaborate your answers from the knowledge you have gained in our classrooms. Okay, now question number 1, distinguish between a combinational and sequential circuits. This is the basic question and you know already, just I am showing sequential circuit only here. And because a combinational circuit means a combinational circuit is one whose output depends on present inputs, and if it is a sequential circuit, a circuit whose output depends on past outputs along with the present inputs. Okay, and for combinational circuits, example circuits are adders, subtractors, multiplexers, demultiplexers, encoders, decoders, okay, etc. For sequential circuits, flip-flops, counters, resistors, etc. Okay, you can see the circuit diagram of, block diagram of sequential circuits. Then second question, define asynchronous inputs of a flip-flop and list them. And for any flip-flop, we know there are two asynchronous inputs. They are preset and clear. So what are these asynchronous inputs means? They are the inputs which can directly change the output of flip-flop irrespective of the states of clock signal, present inputs and previous states, etc. Okay, these are called asynchronous inputs. Then next question, distinguish between synchronous and asynchronous counters. You know what is a counter which counts clock pulses, all that introductory knowledge we have in our classrooms, in our running notes, right? Now what is a synchronous counter? If all the flip-flops in the counter are provided with the same clock, then it is called synchronous counter, and if all the flip-flops in the counter are provided with different clocks, then it is called asynchronous counter. Next question, what is the purpose of ENP and ENT signals of IC 74163? You know IC 74163 is a 4-bit synchronous counter IC. We have studied all essay questions. Right, here there are two pins, that is enable ENP, which stands for enable parallel, and ENT, which stands for enable trickle. So these are the two active high input signals, and when both are on condition, counter performs counting operation, otherwise counter doesn't count anything, it enters into hold state. Okay, so what is hold state? Next state is equal to previous state. So this is what about third question. Then coming to fifth question, distinguish between RAM and ROM. Right, RAM is a random access memory and ROM read only memory. And under RAM we have this RAM holds data as long as power supply is on, and when the power is off, data is lost, therefore it is called as volatile memory. And coming to ROM, it retains the data even if the power supply is off, and that's why we call this as non-volatile memory. Okay, and then RAM supports both read and write operations, whereas ROM supports only read operation. We can read the data stored in ROM. Okay, read only memory. Next question, distinguish between SRAM and DRAM. SRAM, static RAM, and DRAM, dynamic RAM. In static RAM, SRAM, data is stored by using flip-flops. In DRAM, data is stored in the form of charge on a capacitor. SRAM do not require any refreshing circuits. In DRAM, since charge on the capacitor discharge periodically, DRAM requires refreshing circuits. And SRAMs are faster than DRAMs, and DRAMs are slower than SRAMs, and expensive than DRAM. SRAMs are, and DRAMs are cheaper than SRAM. Next question, what is a resistor, and list different types of shift resistors. Resistors are temporary storage locations located inside a CPU, and flip-flop is the basic building block of any resistor. Out of 4 available flip-flops, D flip-flop is used in the design of resistors. There are 4 types of shift resistors: serial in, serial out, serial in, parallel out, parallel in, serial out, and parallel in, parallel out. Next question, define a flip-flop and list the types of flip-flops. Flip-flop. It is a 1-bit storage location whose next stage, that is Qn+1, depends on present inputs, previous state only when clock signal is applied. Okay. 4 types of flip-flops: SR, JK, D and T flip-flops. Next question, 9th one, list the types of ROMs. ROM stands for read-only memory. ROM is a non-volatile memory and is classified into different categories: ROM, PROM, EEPROM, EEPROM, electrically erasable and programmable read-only memory. Next question, list the types of RAMs. RAM stands for random access memory. RAM is volatile memory and is classified as SRAM and DRAM. SRAM is in SRAM data is stored by using flip-flops, and DRAM data is stored in the form of charge on a capacitor.